आओ जी, आओ जी, आओ जी आयान।
ਦਿਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਗਹਿਰਾਈਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਦੀ ਇਸ ਧਰਤੀ ਤੋਂ ਮਾਝੇ ਹਾਊਸ ਤੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੀਤੀ ਗਿੱਲ I would request you to please take over.
Thank you. Thank you, Avindaji. Good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you joining us this evening. Welcome to Maja House. The Stranger in the Mirror is the memoir of well-known, critically acclaimed producer-director Rakesh Omprakash Mehra. And it chronicles in rich detail the journey of Mr. Mehra, whose films we've been watching and we have loved. Who can forget Rang De Basanti, Bhag Milka Bhag, Delhi 6, and the number of films that he's made, each of them stunningly beautiful visually and with themes that resonate with every socially conscious person. His cinema is honest, it's powerful, progressive, with complex characters, and he effortlessly seems to capture the spirit of the storyline and keep us engaged. And more importantly, each of his stories and all of these films have left us with a lot to think about and a lot to reflect on. His co-author here in his memoir is Rita Ramamurthy Gupta, who's also here with us today, and she's a much sought after biographer, having worked extensively with the government as well as with reputed local and international private sector organizations to advocate for human rights and inclusion. She's a fabulous communicator and she connects with audiences. And in this book, she seems to bring alive every single page as she creates this story and the gripping narrative of not only the life, but the films of Mr. Mehra. She's credited with the internationally acclaimed Red Dot Experiment, a decadal Six Nation study on how culture impacts communication. And talking to them today is Kaveri Bamzai, who's been with us earlier. She's also visited Amritsar very recently. And she's a respected, well-known senior journalist with about 30 years, more than 30 years of experience. She was also the first woman editor of India Today, and she's worked at the Times of India and Indian Express. She's the co-founder of StreeStories.com, a website dedicated to women who aspire. And she also presents Tiffin Talks, conversations on books, movies, and popular culture. Kaveri, in fact, we've got to get you for that and for the new book, which is just out, The Three Khans, which I'm really looking forward to now. I've got my copy. And
Thank you.
Hoping we're going to engage you in conversation on that. But back to the evening and back to the man of the moment, Mr. Om Prakash Mehra. So I'm going to hand it over now to you, Kaveri, to take the conversation forward. And welcome everybody from the bottom of our hearts in Amritsar.
Thank you. It's such a beautiful city. I've always enjoyed myself. And as you said, I was there recently and it was just brilliant again. And I think no visit is complete without one to the Golden Temple. And which brings me to Rakesh Omprakash Mehra, who's perhaps captured the Golden Temple's beauty and its essence in nowhere have I seen it captured more beautifully than in Rang De Basanti. So thank you so much for joining us, Rakesh. Thank you, Rita. It's such a pleasure. I've read your book several times, reviewed it, loved it. And I think it's been a wonderful collaboration, the both of you. And I wonder, and that's my first question to both of you, how exactly did the collaboration come about, and how did the two of you blend so beautifully that you can almost hear Rakesh speaking through the book? It's and yet it's you obviously who's chronicling it, but you can almost hear Rakesh's voice. So what a wonderful collaboration, and tell me how you did it.
Rita ji.
Yes.
You did it, so please.
No, I think that it's extremely important for a biographer to leave themselves out of the book, because it's a very honest conversation between a reader and a subject. And the reader comes in wanting to know somebody better, to get inspired. And it's extremely important that the biographer respects that. So yes, I think I tried to capture. I think, from the time we have all seen Rang De Basanti, and I had approached him for a small campaign, I remember, called It's Cool to Vote in 2009. That was the first time we met. And since then, we've just stayed in touch. And one day, I remember he spoke to me about his book. And then we just decided कि चलो करते हैं. There was no great analysis or plan or anything like that. He trusts every artist to do their job. And it's been a fantastic learning experience for me to work with him and to be able to translate his ideas into a lexical experience for the reader.
Right. Rakesh, how is it to have your words flow through Rita to the reader?
While we were doing it and putting it together and having these long conversations and 1,000 cups of coffees, it was, I always felt very good. I always felt in the moment. At times, I don't know how it happened. Normally, I forget things very fast. I forget names. I forget what I wrote yesterday. But the films kept coming alive, and as such. So the process was absolutely amazing. And now, then there's another experience which is very exciting to see a book. And I never imagined that I'll be a so-called subject for book. I normally write my subjects and characters. So there were a lot of butterflies, and now in retrospect, there is a sense of calm. There's a sense of that, it's not something which is complete with this book. I think there's something that has started with this book. It's a beginning. It's a starting point for me. I vividly remember my request to Rita ji was that, I love to read books on movies. And my favorite movies, whether they are, Japanese or Italian or French or English or, and about the movie makers as to why did she make the film and what went behind, what was the thinking, what was the journey like, and of my, the cinema I have learned from. But whenever I came back home, there were no books available on movies. There were far and few.
Right.
And if at all, there were more books on celebrities and, your stars and poster boys and girls. And why not? There should be. I'm not complaining there. But for a student of cinema, it is so important because I still keep going back, Kaveri, to the books, to a certain chapter. When I'm feeling low, I'm hit a wall.
Right.
I'm at the crossroads of am I doing the right thing or not? Then I just pick up Fellini on Fellini and read a bit about 8.5 and understand his journey. And I realize, why am I making such a great fuss about things? And, these great masters have been there, done that without blinking an eye.
Right.
And they just went with the feelings. So there is a lot of inspiration there.
Right. And, when you're writing about your struggles, when Rita is chronicling them as well, you can see, no film has come easy to you. Apart from the film that, of course, you always wanted to make, Samjhauta Express, which I really do feel, I wish you could. I don't know whether right now is the right time and when that time will ever come. But all your films are not, they're also saying something beyond just the cinematic experience. How important is that for you, Rakesh? Does it come intrinsically in your creative expression?
Yeah, I once asked Gulzar Bhai, what ये director क्या चीज होती है. And he's my neighbor, my mentor. He's fatherly to me, and I can just offload myself and go to him and come out inspired after a cup of tea and get on with things.
Right.
So he said, "Bachchu." He calls me Bachchu, and he said, "Bachchu, वो डायरेक्टर उस शख्स का नाम है जो कुछ बोलना चाहता है, जो कुछ बोल रहा है." And I hadn't defined. I've never analyzed my work so much. I've just gone with instincts. So as far as those instincts are alive, I think I'm alive, and the work will be alive. It will be talking to the audiences. I believe in a conversation. I don't believe in ki film bana diya, entertain kar diya. My job does not stop there.
Right.
It's much more, and if you can look back at something you've done and feel a little good about it, it makes the effort so much more, there's so much more fruit in it. Yeah.
Right. And Rakesh, the other day you were talking about the whole idea of giving yourself permission to fail, which I think is such a powerful statement to me. That is where one draws courage from, right? That you make what you want, regardless of X watching it, Y watching it. You've made what you wanted to make. That is something that comes through in the book again and again. Talk a little about that.
For me, success is important, but it's not what I'm chasing at all. And I definitely don't look at the Excel sheet with figures as to, when your film is called a project, it kind of hurts me.
Right.
I'm making a film and it's much more to me. It's like my baby. Imagine a mother being told that her daughter is a project.
Right.
अभी इसको ऐसे स्कूल में भेजेंगे, ऐसे फिर ऐसा करियर करेंगे. There's a lot more going on there, and only a mother knows. And so it's a very it's a feeling like that. That's the closest I can define as such. So failure to me has given me fearlessness. The idea that I'm going to fail doing this, and I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to fall flat on my face, my nose will bleed, my front tooth will break. All that is perfectly fine. Sorry, I talk in metaphors and visuals because that's my job. And these the shots come naturally to me. It is definitely it's not a very arrogant statement. Neither is giving yourself permission to fail is a very holy statement. It's not that. It's the most logical way to approach
life.
Anything.
Yeah.
And I learned that. And I'm still learning it. Because the moment you give yourself permission to fail, you erase the word fear, doing what you're doing. You are absolutely not worried about pleasing anybody and pouring out your heart and being more honest in your work. And that builds better bridges, I think. I still remember after Rang De Basanti, there was a TV channel which came inspired by the film, with the young group in Pakistan started called Aag. And there was a lot going on in Pakistan. That time, a lot of voices were being suppressed as such. And it just, I can't believe it. It's like something which was not getting made. And when it gets made, And thanks to the entire team, thanks to the actors in front of the camera and everybody behind the camera. It's not just well, I get I get to pick up the awards, but it's actually the awards should be broken into like 100 pieces and distributed. Yeah.
But Rakesh and Rita, here I'd like to bring you in as well. The most moving part of the book for me is really your growing up years, Rakesh. And what a wonderful, I mean, your parents, I think, I can see my parents, and I think a lot of people will see their own parents in them, to do so much with so little. And I think that those things that they taught us, I wish we had been smart enough to pass it on to the next generation. I haven't, unfortunately. I hope you have. But, when you talk about your mother, when you talk about your father, when you talk about Raj Kapoor giving up the 5-star meal in the hotel where your father worked and coming to eat, what your mother cooks, your mother sort of making sure that she finds enough money to buy you a pair of shoes or whatever. It is so wonderful, and it reminds us of how much our parents did for us, isn't it? It's so moving to me. And I think that is what gives you that fearlessness and that courage, Rakesh, that, you came from virtually nothing. And, here you are, one of the most celebrated directors in India.
I like to change the optics on that. I think I came from
a lot.
Yeah.
In many ways, yeah.
The contribution my parents had. Imagine spending 110% of your earning, not 100. I don't know how to manage the rest of the 10%.
Yeah.
On the education of your 3 children.
Right.
My father had to give up studies when he was in the 8th standard because they could not afford it after that, and had lost his mother when he was really young. My mother had to give up studies when she was in 9th standard, so she was more educated than my father. So that was the thing in the family anyway. And yeah, in that. If you see the arc he has traveled,
yeah,
I have not even begun the journey. And I'm not saying it out of adulation of one's father. We talk, always talk and want to talk good thing about our parents. It's not that. It's and like him, I see a million others, the common man of this country and of South Asia whom I know, who have just done wonders. Yeah.
With so little,
With nothing. Even little is like, wow. Yeah.
So I wonder, Rita, how did you feel when Rakesh was sort of recalling some of his childhood memories? I don't know. I felt so moved when I was reading them. How did you, as a writer, putting all that down, how did it make you feel?
I think that I was faced with a very honest protagonist. In fact, there is only one thing that I think of now in hindsight, Kaveri, if I may share. Yeah. There was this great sage Nagarjuna who said that, if you desire learning, forsake ease. And if you desire ease, forsake learning.
Right.
So I think Rakeshji made that choice very early in life.
Right.
It was not just his childhood, but even the way he talks about how he entered garment exports. And then again, he did not forsake learning. He was always driven to forsake ease. And the choices that he made, it was very cathartic even for me. And again, to connect it to the question you asked earlier, I just wanted people to see the honesty of his success. So that you never know whom you inspire. And, when you're writing a book on, someone who's made multiple, pieces of art, each of which are archetypical and, iconic in a sense. I just wanted the narrative to reflect that.
Right. And Rakesh, and so many things that I didn't even know. For instance, that you were a national level swimmer, and you were things that I had no clue. So you obviously hide your light under a bushel. Was that a discovery for you as well, Rita? Some of these things?
Most certainly. There were so many things that I did not know. And when someone is, see, Rang De Basanti, I think not only did it have an impact on, cinema lovers, right? The impact of it petered down to society.
Yeah.
And when a man has the courage to tell you कि कोई भी देश perfect नहीं होता, उसे बेहतर बनाना पड़ता है. Now that is the kind of, you do not ascribe blame to anyone. You are willing to own up the future of your country. You're willing to own up the future of your nation on your shoulders, and that's taking responsibility. And I think when a man can do that, then you want to know more about such a person. And I think that's been the honest attempt with the biography, and in everything that I learned about Rakesh ji along the way.
Yeah. Was there anything that was surprising to you, Rita, or you found that you had no clue that this was so?
Yes, most certainly. There were a couple of things that we discussed when we were editing the book, and we felt that it would spoil some relationships that had been repaired.
Okay.
So, there is a journey in the life of every artist, and you keep coming back to the same people. That's what life is all about. You keep working together in your community. So yes, a couple of times we did decide that it was unwise to include some incidents in the book. Yes.
Was there anything that surprised you, that you said, my God, I had no clue?
The letter from Ronnie Screwvala. There is a part. So Rakesh ji, if you've seen his journey, he's taken his time to make his films.
Right. So, yes.
There is a gap, say, between Aks and Rang De Basanti.
Right.
So, during those periods when there have been long gaps, and here is a man who's a fountainhead of creativity. So why not make more? I think that was Ronnie Screwvala's question to him. And that made a huge impact even on me. So in a sense that if you are conducting these sessions, can you conduct more? Do you have more time to spread the knowledge? And with Rakesh ji, yes, can he make more cinema?
Right.
Is he going to be able to tell more stories with greater frequency so that we may enjoy more of his art?
Rita, what was it like to also go back to people he had collaborated with in the past, from Manoj Bajpayee to, Amitabh Bachchan, I think Ronnie, all of them, Amir is in the book as well, right?
Yes.
So what was it like going back to all these people and sort of talking to them about him?
So I guess, Kaveri, I'll be very honest. They were, I was acutely aware that they are Rakesh ji's friends and they are opening their doors to me on that account. So I think for me, it was a lot of preparation. I needed to get everything I wanted from them in the hour or two that they were giving me. So I think that was an area of intense focus. I just tried to get as much as I could for my reader from those interactions. Yes.
Right. Rakesh, was it easy getting all your friends to, remember their collaborations with you?
Half the time I didn't even know they were talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like Rita ji would ask Bharti, and she would send a message, and then we would meet, and I would realize they have said all this, and then they would call me, or I would call them to thank them, and they would say, "Dekh lena what you feel, what you want to keep, and what you want to," because we just spoke.
Right.
And early in the day, we said we will not change a word. So if Amir, as usual, took his time because he wanted.
How long?
He was very sweet because he was in between the shooting of Lal Singh.
Right.
And I remember he was doing his Ladakh schedule, and in between that, he stayed up nights to write the epilogue.
Right.
Because he was shooting long hours, and the location was like 2-3 hours away from the hotel. And then it was so funny that it went into printing, and then he sends me another epilogue. He said, I've revised it a little more. I said, it's gone into printing. Let me see. The Rupa publication was very kind to do something more. And then after 7 days, he revises it further. Just one word, you know him. And I said, okay, I'm sending you the book. Let's keep this for the next one. Yeah.
What was that word? Do you remember, Rakesh?
His favorite line in the film, he gave it to me. Tim lika lika lak.
Right. And some of those conversations are so lovely. Like Manoj saying, "When are you going to work with me next?" You know, they're almost like. By the way, when are you going to work with him next, Rakesh?
Manoj, my thing with Manoj is, I hope I get to work with you before I die. And this is what I told him like couple of years back, and I said just out of the blue, and I was feeling very missing Manoj a lot. You know, he's such a complete actor. These are just words. He's such an amazing human being, and we collaborate so well, and we had such a great time, Manoj and myself and Amitji, when we were working for Rux.
Right.
Not to mention Ravina and everyone else.
Right.
It was. There is this thing. We both come from. You know, he comes from a small village in Bihar, and I come from. Our families are. Backgrounds are very similar. They are almost the same age, and every time I look at his work, it's like it's astonishing. It's how he what he brings on the table, and his process only he knows. I've never tried to understand that. It must be really complicated when he prepares for a role and how he interprets one. The good part is Aks is now, I think, 20 years old.
Yeah, 2001, exactly 20.
And it feels like, and it's not an old man talking. It's like we've been constantly in touch. We've been speaking. And it's not that. It's not just a relationship of a producer actor or a director actor. You know. It's much more than that, yeah. And on all of them, all the relationships.
But all of them, like, I mean, Waheeda Rehman, I mean, she's a goddess. And, you know, what a wonderful relationship you have with her. I don't know what it is about you, Rakesh, you know, from Gulzar to Waheeda Rehman to Amitabh Bachchan. I mean, these are sort of the greats of Indian cinema. So sometimes you pinch yourself and say, my God.
Waheeda ji, we were shooting for Rang De, and the bungalow, her house was shot in a bungalow in Bandra in Mumbai, on Pali Hill. And we were always running short of money, so my house became the makeup room.
Really?
Yeah, so we had all of one living room and 1.5 bedroom with 3 dogs, 2 children, and these 6 boys and Waheeda ji, and Soha and Alice.
Wow.
And they were all there, and we have a small den upstairs. So that den I reserved for Waheeda ji. I said, all you guys do your makeup huddled in this living cum dining room. And it's a small house. It's like 990 square feet. Imagine fitting everybody in there.
Wow.
With the makeup artist and the dress guys and the dresses. So it was amazing. That's how we made the film.
Right.
So Waheeda ji got the upper room, and she was leafing through my LDs, and she discovered Kagaz Ke Phool.
Okay.
And I have a signed Kagaz Ke Phool from Waheeda Rehman.
Wow. I mean, should just put it up in your living room and, just.
I treasure it. I treasure it, and one.
Rita, did you hear all these stories, and did you go, oh my God, what should I write? What should I not write?
Yeah, I remember going to Vaidaji's house, and I was a little early by habit. And I wasn't prepared to see such an active 85-year-old. She is so active.
Right.
And she wanted to go about, get coffee, get water. She wanted to do it all by herself.
Yes.
And she wanted to choose whether to sit in a hall or to sit in the outside porch area. She was up and about. And, she and Gulzar Saab, I think two of the people that I interviewed, actually treat Rakesh ji like a child.
Right.
अरे वो फिर से कुछ लेके आ गया था, पहले तो उसने कुछ और सुनाया था, फिर कुछ और लेके आ गया था. So, they have such affection for him. And I think I was just trying to bring that to life, Kaveri, because as you very rightly pointed out, he builds relationships forever.
Right.
There is
regardless of the movies, like with Mohan Agashe. I mean, he's in practically all his movies. What a great man again,
Ji. And there's so much faith that he has in his artists. And I realized that because even when I was writing, he did not ask me to change a single word. We probably discussed some things,
right,
but nothing in the book was changed.
Right.
So he has immense faith in, for people to do their job, that they know what to do. He does not have to police them or mollycoddle them or anything at all. So yeah, these were extremely cherished interactions.
Who was the most exciting person to interview on Rakesh?
Exciting. There is this, while all of them were amazing, I'd like to mention the interview with Rajat Dholakia ji. He's a musician, and they all call him Juku, right?
Right.
So Juku ji is, of course, a 2-time national award winning musician and all of that. He had these two things to say constantly. One was, "Are re re re," every second, "Rakesh, are re re re." And the second thing he want to always say, "Bada pure banda hai."
Acha.
Second says, "Bada pure banda hai."
Right.
Bada pure artist hai. So I was like, there was so, and he hadn't slept all night because he was in a recording, and there was so much love in that interview. Likewise, Sonam, she had a moment where she looked at me and said, "Has anyone told you this?" So I said, "What?" "Mehra doesn't look into the camera." I said, "Okay." "Yeah, he looks like the artist when they're acting. And it's unnerving a little bit at first, but then you realize that he's connecting to you at a very different level."
Right.
There is no camera between Rakesh ji and, the artist. So very, very exciting interviews. Farhan Akhtar, in that 1 minute that we were almost getting up after a 1.5 hour interview. And he says, "I want to show you something." I said, "Okay, what?" And then he picks up Milkha Singh's shoe, which is in his office till date.
Wow.
Just behind where he sits. And he says, "See, I have to show this to you, right?" So very, very exciting interviews. And everyone coming through for Rakesh ji, literally that I want to, is there anything else I can do to add value to the book? How can I make it more exciting? There were anecdotes, there was emotion. It was really nice.
And it obviously got you hooked for life because you're now doing a Sanjeev Kumar biography.
Yes. There are 3 biographies I'm working on currently.
3?
All of them will be into 2022. Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
So, when I was reading why you chose to call it Stranger in the Mirror, talk a little about that because that's very important.
Yeah. So, one always has this literary kida inside one, where you want the title to have so much meaning and import, and you want it to be interpreted in so many ways. But the publisher obviously has, so many other considerations.
Right.
Yes. we thought of many, many things. And there is a photographer, Amit Asher, who's done a lot of work with Rakesh ji.
Right.
He said that, we need to do this Brahma kind of cover, where there are 3 faces to Rakesh ji on the cover. And we had so many interpretations and ideas going with the cover. Finally, I think between the publisher and Rakesh ji, somewhere we decided to keep it simple and go with Stranger in the Mirror. And there's a chapter on mirrors in the book, as I'm sure you know.
That's right. And Rakesh, in a way, because it's very significant because you are also showing us a mirror. I mean, your movies show us they're like a mirror to society. Sometimes the world doesn't like the reflection. Sometimes the world loves it. As an artist, you can't control that. But your job as an artist is to show that mirror to society, right?
Yeah. Let me apologize for my bad internet connection. I live in a village, so it's 2 hours away from Bombay.
Right.
Mostly now I'm living here, so internet is a little challenge. But
you enjoy that. You said you enjoy the. What is it about that village that you enjoy so much?
Oh, there's a lake here. My house, I can see the lake is right there. I see it from all my rooms, and enjoy means it gives me my time, space to write. And it's like you can see the internet is weak, so I'm virtually cut off from everyone, which is a blessing.
So you really. So talk a little about the mirror.
Subconsciously, they have crept into the storytelling. Aks means reflection. There's a seminal moment in Aks where Amitabh Bachchan and Manoj Bajpayee, when Amitabh Bachchan is looking into the mirror, he sees multiple Manoj Bajpayee.
Right.
And Manoj, who was playing evil personified, because good and evil is 2 sides of the same coin, tells Amitabh Bachchan that "Main tumhara aks hu." So I am a part of you, and that good and evil reside inside you. In Delhi 6, the fakir carries the mirror.
Mirror all the time, yeah.
The fakirs I have met and some Sufi saints, they carry a mirror in the jholi. So that I had observed. And the idea was to, if you're looking for God, you're looking for Allah, you're looking for Bhagwan, you will find it in the mirror. He is residing inside you. He or she. I don't know what's the gender for God. And it's so I have a conversation with myself in the mirror every morning. Either it's a silent conversation, or I make faces at myself like stupid faces, or I scold myself for the mistakes I've done the previous day, just to just to repeat them again. You never learn. Then in Bhag Milkha Bhag, when Milkha Singh commits, he was one of the favorites to win in Australia in 56 Olympics. He'd come by setting up a world record and all that. And he just lost his way. His focus went off. And he finished a very bad 4th, or even less than that. And he looks into the mirror, and it was an improvised scene. We were shooting at the stadium in Delhi. And I went to the changing room, I saw the mirror, and I said, this guy is losing. After the race, you do come in the changing room. You come to change.
Right.
And if he'll come into the changing room, Milkha Singh will look at himself in the mirror, because there's a huge mirror wall to wall.
Right.
And he will not like the guy out there, because and he's going to punish him.
Right.
And I just told Farhan then that you got to slap yourself. And he did the rest. It kind of Milkha Singh was kind of a physical kind of a person. So he slapped himself as such. In Rang De Basanti, it was very subtle. It was when the transformation of the boys is happening. Alice, a documentary filmmaker from the UK, from Great Britain, comes here with a grandfather's diary who had walked Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev to the gallows.
Right.
It was a fictitious character one had created.
Right.
And she was doing a documentary and she's looking for youngsters to play that part.
Yeah.
But the youngsters don't believe in it.
Yeah.
The part, but they just do it for fun. But slowly or surely, the lines start blurring.
Yeah.
The spirit of the revolutionary starts
Merging
influencing them. So there is a session and there's the title song of Rang De Basanti where they are getting into the look.
Right.
Which is shaving yourself, growing a mustache, trying different mustaches, wigs, all that. So there is a sequence, like a 40-second sequence in the mirror, where everybody is changing.
Right.
There I kept it half and half.
Right.
They're half modern and they're half the kids of 1990, the revolutionaries. Because they were still getting into the zone. They're not knowing. So yeah, mirrors do come. In my recent film Tufan, when Aziz Ali, who had fixed a boxing match to pay for a rent for his flat, so he could give his newlywed wife a good place to stay in. Any which way, they were not being accepted in Hindu colonies because he was a Muslim, and she was not being accepted in a Muslim neighborhood because she was a Hindu.
Yeah.
And he didn't want her to convert, obviously. That was not the reason they married. He fixes a match and where he takes the beating, but he makes 12 lakh rupees. And for that, which is caught, and he's suspended for 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years later, when he gets his license, she goes and gets the license back for him, and he refuses. And in a freak accident, in Bombay, we had the stampede.
Right.
Lower Parel Bridge, where a lot of people lost their life. And I used to wonder, you're just traveling to work or going somewhere, going to college, coming back from somewhere, and suddenly you're no more, because that's how our organization is, the safety is.
Yeah.
And it keeps happening again and again. So we did that. And then he's looking himself in the mirror, he sees the license, and he breaks the mirror because he doesn't like the guy who's out there. So it's not that you have to be evil to be in the mirror. It's just your alter.
Right.
Yeah, your alter ego is there, sitting inside. Yeah.
Do you like who you see in the mirror?
Honestly, most of the time I'm ashamed of the guy.
Why? What has he done? He's done pretty well for himself.
No, he can do. He can say a lot more and he can do a lot more, but he's also very lazy. And I have to kick myself to say, come on, is one life. You can definitely have more fun and do much more, which is, I make movies for now. So I most certainly I haven't given enough time to the people I love. And at the same time, not given enough time to the things I love, which are movies.
Right.
And maybe there is only 24 hours or something.
Yeah. We have a quick question, Rakesh, from Guru Tesh Singh. How did you come to make a team with A.R. Rahman and Prasun Joshi? An excellent choice. Tell us something about how you came to make such wonderful music for these three films, Rang De, Delhi 6 and Milkha.
Yeah, Milkha, the collaboration was with Shankar Ehsaan Loy, and the first two definitely with A.R. and Prasun. And I think it was with A.R. it's a spiritual connect.
Yeah.
He's done the foreword for the book. and we talk about life. We just talk about things. We go for a drive at 4 in the morning, uh, talking about our families, and music just happens.
Right.
But the intensity behind our music sessions is very deep. We keep laughing and making it light talk. But there is a certain amount of, and if one person I have learned the most is A.R. Rahman. I've learned from everyone in different ways. But he's something else altogether. He converts 1 hour into 1 day. So in a day, like his day is 24 days.
Right.
And he uses every moment of it. And the only reason he sleeps is because sleep is a weapon. And it's otherwise he would just look at his body of work, look at what he's done to music, how he's discovered it.
Absolutely.
And I remember it was like 2:30 in the morning, and I was telling him, why I'm making Delhi 6 is, which we spoke about the other day. I said, there are so many wounds there, and I want to apply a soothing balm. I don't want to scratch the wounds. And I don't know, I was just going blah, blah, blah about the film, and we never speak about a romantic गाना
Right.
या फिर एक ऐसा सिचुएशन है मेरी फिल्म में, वो नहीं है. गंदे में भी नहीं था, Delhi 6 में भी नहीं था, and the next film I'm collaborating with him, उसमें भी नहीं. I'll just talk about the film, about my feeling, and he keeps coming up with sounds, and then I find a place, or it finds itself a place. And while I was talking to him about this, I said, why can't we accept and respect differences in faith and gender and rich and poor and caste. And there was this instrument in front of him which he had newly acquired. He's a child as far as instruments go. He would get anything and
He loves it, right? He gets excited.
And gizmos. There are many stories with him in many parts of the world, actually, in the US, the UK. And he started playing, it was a fretlet instrument, it's called a continuum. And it's closest to the human voice. It's like a sarangi, and we'll find it in that song, Rehna Tu. There's a lovely piece, the song. And he started just, as I was talking, he started playing. The melody was coming out of him.
Wow.
And so stuff like that. And that's how the music happened. Yeah.
Just wonderful. Dr. Seema Grewal has said, wow, wonderful explanation of the presence of the mirror and importance of arcs in his films. I'm a big fan of his movies, especially Dilli Che. Yay! It's very close to me. Please tell us something about how the concept of Kala Bandar became a part of that script. I'm so happy there's so many fans out there of Dilli Che.
Yeah, tell me about it. The child is growing.
So she wants to know about Kala Bandar.
Actually, in Old Delhi, when I was growing up, there was a Kala Bandar on the loose. And I remember there was a price of 500 rupees for catching the monkeys. And it was named as Kala Bandar, but they were creating a menace. They would jump into your kitchen, take the piyaz, tomato, they would tear your kites and all that. Obviously, because we had taken over all the forest from them, so what to do?
Yeah.
So that memory had stayed with me. And when we were writing Delhi 6, Kamleshi was writing it. And the whole idea of the evil within I was still grappling with that philosophy since Aks. And finally, I understood it with Bhag Milkha Bhag, the demon within, because Milkha also grew up with demons. So I decided to, while there was a monkey loose, and some people were saying he's a Russian agent, somebody was saying he's an alien. Actually, there are newspaper clippings of that, what I've used in the film.
Yeah.
I used it as a metaphor for the evil within, as such.
Right.
So what I tried in Aks of good and evil, I tried to complete that thought or search for it in Delhi 6. And I think finally I found the answer in Bhag Milkha Bhag, because Milkha Singh grew with the demons within.
Yeah.
He had lost his family in the ethnic violence of the partition, and he grew with the hatred. But when he discovered love for the neighbors, that's the time he saw his childhood smiling at him.
Yeah.
Which is the film. Yeah.
So wonderful. Kirandeep Kaur wants to know, please tell us about your favorite movies, books, as well as your forthcoming projects.
Oh God, that's a lot, Kirandeep.
Maybe your forthcoming projects and something that you've just read or watched which moved you.
I just read a lovely book called, I've read it again, sorry. It's by Alif Shafak. It's called 40 Rules of Love.
Right.
And it traces Rumi's love story. And at today's time, it will be like blasphemous.
Right.
But yeah, but it's beautifully written, and it's also a story about a 40-year-old woman who has 3 kids, twins, and a daughter who's falling in love. And the idea is, how can you fall in love? You're 18 and you want to get married. Are you crazy? Spend a life with one man, grow up. There is nothing called love. And then by reading this manuscript of a writer, she discovers and she starts writing to the writer. Yeah. And he gives her the 40 rules of love, which becomes the chapter. And finally, she leaves her family to join the writer.
Right.
And she is found her true love, even if she was a mother of 3, which I found very interesting. You know, women have been told, "Ye tumhari duty hai. Abhi you're a daughter, you're a sister, now you're a wife, now you're a mother, now you're a grandmother."
Right.
What about the person? She was born to perform a job or what? Right. You know. So that book kind of liberated that. It's called 40 Rules of Love. I strongly recommend that. It's a beautiful book, and one of my favorite poets, Rumi, is there. It's about him and about American Lady, and I hope I can convert it into a movie one day.
And what you're working on? What's your forthcoming project?
I'm trying to work on, attempting. I've just finished the script for Karna.
Yes.
Karna is from the
Mahabharat.
From mythology and from Mahabharat. It's a beautiful piece of literature.
Yeah.
Written by Vyasa, and I always found Karna very close to my heart as a character. I found him the most human among everybody out there. He was flawed, yet he was the purest.
Great. We have a lot of questions. I'll just quickly run through them. Sangamitra Malek asks, in biopics that are made, the chosen actor never looks like the person whose biopic is being made. But Farhan looked so much like Milkha. His performance was outstanding. I think it's more a comment. Deepshika says, we all battle. One second. Let me come to this. Sorry. We all battle. Deepshika asked a very interesting question. We all battle with demons. Have you put yours to rest? Rita, do you think he's put his demons to rest?
I think one of the titles we were considering for the book Kaveri was Interval.
Right.
And we wanted to name the book Interval because there is a pre-Tufan director,
right,
a post-Tufan director, and we've stopped just before Tufan.
Right.
And Mirzia,
pre-Tufan and post-Tufan, do you think Tufan was a sort of life-changing experience for Rakesh?
I think Mirzia was, because what we discussed, there is a lot of courage that is needed to do an experiment like that. It was a musical.
Right.
And Mirzia was a cinematic experience that he wanted to offer.
Right.
And we all know that even though as a filmmaker, you may not be too connected to the success of your film, but because of the people involved, who've invested in your vision or who, put money in your idea. Therefore, it was a disappointment, but it was a beautiful experiment. And I think we decided to call it Interval because after Mirzia came Mere Pyare Prime Minister and then came Tufan. And now, if there is book 2, it will be post Tufan. So that's post the Interval.
Maybe Rita can tell us about this, that afterward thing that I put there, because I read that Aamir Khan saying that DJ in Rang De is uncannily like Mehra himself. Is that true? Really?
Yeah.
Rakesh has actually spoken about his 4 friends in the book and how all of them, he's taken inspiration from all of them to be the characters in the film.
We'll ask Guru Pratap from our executive team to please say a formal thank you to all of you for being here today. Okay, there's GPS and he's wearing his Kala Chashma just in filmy style. Please. There he is, Guru Pratap.
Thank you.
Thanks, Preeti. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. And please do excuse me for wearing these glasses because I'm suffering from a very severe eye infection. I'm not blind or anything. So, but before I extend my vote of thanks, please do let me have a fan moment for Rakesh. So, I remember Aks was his debut movie and it came in 2001. And I saw it in the theater and was simply bowled over by the movie. It was so unique. It was so challenging. It was just completely different from anything I had ever seen in cinema. और मैंने बहुत films देखी हैं. But Aks was something that simply stayed with me for a very, very long time. And I knew from that first watching that we were all in the presence of a genius. Or I think for many reasons, it was a breakout film for everyone involved in it. Rakesh ji brilliantly captured the essence and the darkness and the brooding intensity throughout the film. Then there was Manoj Bajpayee giving everyone the chills with his eerie laughter. And then, of course, there was Gulzar sir, who was writing the lyrics for an item song set in a dance bar on a cabaret number. और मेरे को याद है अभी तक कि I so loved the music that when we would go out in the car, I would play that song, ये रात, झल्ली ये छिपकली रात, कौड़ी वाले कोबरे की रात, at full blast in the car. And it was just one. I hope he can hear me now. तारीफ तो मैंने कर दी, पर that's okay. और okay.
That was the magic गुलजार भाई.
जी और अक्सर पहले किसी ने सोचा नहीं था कि गुलजार साहब एक आइटम सॉन्ग के लिए लिरिक लिखेंगे जो एक स्ट्रिपर के ऊपर फिल्म किया जाएंगे. इट वाज अ बोल्ड मूव फॉर एवरीवन इन्वॉल्व्ड. And I remember the songs playing in disco bars and dance parties and everything. And with each of your later films, Rakesh ji, from the iconic RDB to the biographical Bhag Milkha Bhag to the latest Mirzia, you challenged and inverted cinematic norms and narratives. In Mirzia, you ran a contemporary love story parallel to the traditional one. And once again, it had lovely poetry by Gulzar Saab. I still remember the poetry. होता है इश्क में अक्सर ऐसा होता है. चोट कहीं लगती है जाकर दर्द कहीं पर होता है. I remember this. And from your movies, one can tell that you are a complex person, impossible to pin down to a single label. Through your book now, one can have a glimpse of the person that you really are. It is a window, if not a mirror, to your soul. Thank you so much for joining us today and making this a wonderful, wonderful evening for all of us. I must also thank Rita here for being with us. Your expertise and felicity for words come across very clearly. Although I believe it must have been a very difficult task to translate Rakesh's ideas into words, but I'm sure it also must have been a fascinating experience to be privy to all of Rakesh's visions and memories and the small stories and anecdotes behind the films that we all love and admire. And here I must also thank you, Kaveri, for all the incisive questions you asked. Each was skillfully aimed at removing the many layers from a complex persona. This was a really lovely conversation. Thank you all for being a part of this.
Yeah.
So much.
If you can hear me now, can you?
Yes.
Gigi, we can hear you.
My sincere apologies for the internet, and I apologize on behalf of Airtel, Jio, and MTNL.
That's the best one.
with the promise that whenever Maja House wants, I shall not depend on internet anymore and come to Amritsar.
You
Wow,
must.
Wonderful.
You absolutely must. You must come
And
here.
so, उसमें प्रीति जी क्या होगा कि वो इंटरनेट की प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी कम से कम.
वो भी नहीं होगी और बहुत सारी दूसरी चीजें भी आपको यहाँ मिलेंगी with Amritsar. I mean, food capital, culture capital, all kinds of stuff. So you have to come. Thank you very
Most
much for the
certainly,
conversation.
and,
Thank you, all of you, Rita and Kaveri and you, Mr. Mehra.